We are back on the Jason Mackey weekly podcast. I'm Adam Bittner, assistant sports editor for Multimedia. Jason is our sports columnist of the Post-Gazette. This video is airing on our new Post-Gazette Pirates YouTube channel. So if you have not subscribed yet, please do. Check out the great work that Noah Hiles, Andrew Destin are doing as well. Jason, we're going to be talking about the Pirates offseason that got a little worse this week when Spencer Horwitz got injured. Appears he'll miss most, if not all, of spring training. If past is prologue, the situation will linger into the regular season, even if he's able to start doing some action. Do you chalk this up to incompetence or typical Pirates luck for the way this situation has unfolded?
I love the way you frame that question too, Adam. That's exactly what I think about this whole situation. That's how do you take this offseason and they somehow found a way to make it worse? It's befuddling to me. But so I chalk it up to a little bit of both, honestly. And here's where I come down on it. I guess it's incompetence. Maybe it's arrogance. Maybe it's negligence. Maybe it's all of the above. But what I want to know is, how much did you know about Spencer Horwitz's previous injuries whenever you made the trade? And also, we're told it's a chronic injury. And then Ben Cherington says yesterday morning, Wednesday morning, I believe, that it's a new injury. So, I mean, those both can't be true. I mean, so he has what? Chronic wrist issues, and there's this injury? So now I feel even worse about it because now he has two things he's supposedly dealing with. I hated this trade from the start, Adam. I don't think they should be in the business of giving up young pitching, and they gave up far too much of it for a player that I don't think addresses enough of a need. I think it further exposes what shouldn't have been a significant storyline this offseason. Like this was on a tee for them. Think about this. They have a need at first base. They need to spend a little bit of money. They don't need to go get 6-7 people. They need to get a first baseman who can hit. The easy solution would be to go get a first baseman that can hit. Instead, they try to, reverse engineer some trade that I think most people hated, and now they're paying for it. And now I have no idea who's going to play first base. I don't know if you do. Maybe Scott Hatterberg can play first base. I have no idea, but it just does. It depresses me. It frustrates me. And I think that a lot of fans feel the same way too.
I want to get into that first base question in a second, Jason, but big picture, I think the title of the video, the question is, who is more responsible for the situation that they find themselves in for this offseason? And I said it last week on the main channel, so I'll say it here on the Pirates channel as well. Regardless of what happens from a development perspective, this offseason was a catastrophic failure. The goal of the offseason is to acquire outside talent that you can then make your team better with. And the Pirates did not do that. They brought Andrew McCutchen back. They brought Adam Frazier, a guy they know who's been on their team recently. Doesn't really, I think, change the math of this team. That's the sum of it. This was a catastrophic failure. If you are able to somehow win and your young players develop, and that's all fine and wonderful, but I'll still be sitting here in September saying, well, could they have won the division? Maybe they make the playoffs, Jason, but could they have won the division if they did anything of substance in this offseason? Who do you blame for that? Is it Bob Nutting for not being willing to spend the money? I think the payroll is still south of $70 million. Do you blame Ben Cherington? Because he's always telling us how close he is to making these moves, but he never gets them across the finish line. Who do you hold more accountable for the way this has gone?
It's Bob. He owns the team, plain and simple. I mean, I'm sure Ben is involved, and I'm going to explain that. I also think payroll will get up to about what it was last year. I don't know if you're factoring in like team control stuff that's going to be added later. But I mean, I do believe they're going to spend around 85. Is that enough? No. Do I like it? No. But ultimately, Bob Nutting is responsible. He owns the team. The buck stops with him. If Ben Cherington is refusing to, pull the trigger on a trade, then Bob Nutting needs to go into his office and say, dude, what are you doing? Why are you not, like, we have this hole. Why is this not filled? Why are you doing what you're doing with Spencer Horwitz? I'd be asking that question. Like, you knew about the injury, but you traded for him anyway. You knew he had a bum wrist, but you gave up 3 young pitchers to do it. What are we doing here? Like, Bob would be perfectly within his rights. And you know what? If you don't have the confidence in Ben Cherington, which Bob may not, like everything that I've heard over there, Bob is not thrilled with how things are going right now, then why is he here? Why is Derek Shelton here? Why are you sitting on your hands and not making more sizable moves? There's a pretty darn good sample size that this group is not what it said it was going to be. And that's unfortunate. I like Ben. I like Shelty. It's nothing personal, but the results have not been there. They should have won 84, 85 games last year. They're behind schedule. And now we're talking about going into this offseason and they've hardly spent any money. I mean, if that's because Ben doesn't have it to spend, very clearly that's on Bob. I also look at it and think, okay, if you have X number of dollars to spend, I don't want to spend it the way they have. Like, I would lump all of what they did into a productive first baseman. And it's probably a hard decision with Kutch because, you know, it's going to rub some people the wrong way. But, like, are they getting the bang for their buck with the amount of money they're spending in free agency? I don't think they are. But again, I can't absolve Nutting from blame here.
But they're also only giving Kutch $5 million, Jason, which in baseball terms is like as close as you can get to nothing.
I know, and it shouldn't be like you should be able to keep Kutch and buy a first baseman.
Yes,
I agree with you, and believe me, I'm saying this now. I'd probably have a really tough time saying like, "No, Kutch, we can't bring you back." Like, he does mean everything to baseball fans in the city. I just think it's ridiculous that we're trying to shoehorn, you know, a guy with a bum wrist into this spot without purchasing any additional cover. Like, there were guys out there that could even play, could go out to the outfield if necessary, could play first base if necessary, and they can actually hit a little bit. The fact that this hasn't been rectified, even if you want to put Bryan Reynolds, like let's say they would have went out and got Randall Grichuk. I'm just floating a name out there. Like, he's going to play more outfield, and maybe you're looking to get him in the lineup. Maybe you also want to get Jack in the lineup. Maybe you move Bryan Reynolds to first base, and he's a platoon. Like, I'm fine with that. But you needed to get some actual bat in here, some more than they did. And I don't like, now that we look at the Horwitz thing, like, you knew about it. How much did you know? Why did you go through with this anyway? It blows up on you, and it shouldn't be this rail thin. This has been one of my concerns with the Pirates all along. Like, even their starting group, their primary position players, starting pitchers, bullpen, like, I think it can be halfway decent. I really do. But where I worry then is depth, and we're already into that, and it's, you know, second day of spring training.
To what degree, Jason, is this do or die time now for Ben Cherington? I feel like the way things went down with the trade this week, and the fact that you have made basically no upgrades, you have to own every single position on the diamond. It's not like last season where you bring in Rowdy and he doesn't work out in the first couple of weeks. It's not like when they've brought in free agents in the past that didn't work out. You didn't try to upgrade this roster, so you're owning the guys that are there that you've been around to develop for 5 years. To me, there's just no runway left for him. They need to win in these first 4 months, or I wouldn't let him anywhere close to the trade deadline and making decisions that will impact the future that he probably shouldn't be part of unless they're deeply in contention for something at the All-Star break.
I don't disagree with you, Adam. I don't disagree with you. I question whether that confidence is there now. You know, again, talking to people around the team, like, there's not a whole lot. Oh yeah, they're safe. They're entrenched. They're not going anywhere. Bob's not going to do anything. Like, that is not the sentiment I get. Maybe I'm talking to the wrong people. I don't know. But, like, what can you say right now? Like, if you prop up the case of what Ben Cherington has done with the Pirates, what can you point to that is saying, well, he does this really well. He does this really well. Does this really well. They haven't gotten more talent internationally. They haven't drafted better. They haven't made better trades. They haven't made the best use of their free agent signings. Like, I could be missing one or two things, but, like, you've replaced basically everybody, like your pro scouting director, farm director. The minor league system isn't discernibly better than it was when Cherington took over. I mean, there's more talent in the system, but, like, are the Pirates perennially in the top 10? No. You know, and they've dropped quite a bit now that they've graduated some pitchers up to the major league, which is great. Like, Cherington should get credit for it. I'm not saying he shouldn't, but there just has not nearly been enough done that if this falls flat and they have a bad 4 months, like you're saying, I don't see what you would bank on for keeping this regime in place.
Jason, you mentioned the first base situation. How do you see that playing out? And is this emblematic of the problem here of, like, you tanked for years with the idea of developing guys? And I think most baseball players look at a power hitter at first base as one of those things that you're supposed to have when you stink as badly as they have for so long. And not only do they not have the guy, that you had to go out and give up pitching to go get a guy that you're still not confident in. I look at that as kind of the nexus of this whole conversation of, yeah, you've developed the pitching. You got your 1-1 with Paul Skeens, which helped that situation a little bit. But offensively, there's nothing to speak of here.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of branches to that tree, Adam. Like, I understand what you're saying. Let me add a few things. Like Jared Triolo was maybe going to be a guy who can play in that position. He can't hit enough. Henry Davis was a 1-1 pick. He's never played first base. You can't really put him there. Remember when Mason Martin was viewed as like the first baseman of the future? He's not even with the organization right now. He's in the Atlantic League, last I checked. There were a couple other guys that they've run through there. And think about all the, offseason free agent signings, that sort of thing that they have, tried to, the Yoshi Satsugos of the world and Daniel Vogelbach and G-Man Choi and Rowdy Tellez. And like every year it's been a different, bigger guy in that spot. Like, why can't you get a first baseman? One of the biggest things right now to me, Adam, and this is relevant to what they're doing right now. Why are you not trying Andy Rodriguez in that spot? I'm not saying Andy Rodriguez is the answer. I just don't understand what they're doing right now. Like, here's a guy who, yes, he has caught in the past and he likes to catch and wants to catch. He's also had consistent elbow problems and he can play first base. He's a left-handed hitter. You have Henry Davis. You have 4 catchers on your roster. Right now, you could catch Jason DeLay or Henry Davis. You have backfill at that spot. Why would you not try the left-handed prospect that you're trying to get at bats for at first base? It baffles me. I don't have any good reason for it, but they need to find somebody who can play there. And yeah, it's been something they've been chasing for a long time.
Jason, were there any other headlines here for the first couple of days of spring training that are standing out to you? We heard Bryan Reynolds is going to be playing a lot of right field. I think with the suggestion, we're going to maybe be seeing more Tommy Pham in left than I think we're going to be seeing more Tommy Pham than we were expecting when they signed him. There's been the Ke'Bryan Hayes comments about how he's feeling, but the acknowledgement that this is a chronic injury. I guess I'll start with the outfield situation. Then I have a couple questions about the Hayes stuff.
Yeah, we knew about the Hayes stuff. I actually feel better about the Hayes stuff, hearing him talk, knowing a little bit. We'll get to that. I do want to talk about the outfield, though, Adam, and I hate this. I don't think it's smart. I think it's overcoaching. I think it's overworking, however you want to put it. I don't have any problem with Tommy Pham playing. They brought him in here. I expected him to play. But why are you disturbing 2 positions now? You're putting Bryan Reynolds somewhere new, and you're putting Tommy Pham, all 37 years young of him, in left field at PNC Park. Jack Sawinski was your worst defensive outfielder, and now you're putting him there. I legitimately worry that, like, Tommy Pham, Jack Sawinski, Oneil Cruz, somebody, they're all going to run into each other at some point with a ball hit to the north side notch. I know this. The defensive outfield that the Pirates are going to run out there is going to be bad. If you look at defensive runs saved according to Fangraphs last year, add them all up, and I know Pham's defensive run save did not come with the Pirates. It's over 30. I want to say it's like 33 or 35 negative defensive run save. And this is a team, Adam, that obviously needs to defend better. They need to be a premium defending team. Like this can't be, somebody that just gets by. Like they need to have an above average, if not elite defense to contend because they lack in other areas. So I don't like moving Reynolds to right. I would have just left well enough alone. Play him in left, put Pham in right. I don't care any plus that you're going to get from his throwing. It's not worth disturbing 2 positions and running a 37-year-old in left field where you have a bunch of extra ground to cover. I just don't like it.
Here's my question with the Hayes stuff, Jason. Why did it take this long to get this situation figured out with him with the chronic injury? It's great that they're saying the right things now. It's great that people are feeling confident moving forward, but clearly this has been something he's dealt with for a while.
Yeah.
And they haven't been able to bring themselves to say, yeah, it's a chronic injury and we need to manage it better.
Well, that's on them. That's on messaging.
That's why I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a chronic issue. If they're going to try to deny that, then shame on them. I mean, but I don't blame them or Ke'Bryan for dealing with this. I mean, that's like talking to, me or you or anybody who's had back problems. You're like, why can't you get this figured out? Like, I don't know. I've had back problems since I was in high school. Like some people are just born with it. I feel bad for Ke'Bryan that he has to deal with this. Like I've talked to him about it, and it's basically 2 discs rubbing together, and he needs to like change how he lifts, runs, works to do all this stuff to stop that from happening. I was encouraged by what I heard from him yesterday, talking about a new sort of routine and way of working out, way of operating. He said he was able to lift normally, something he hasn't been able to do in a couple years. I think, the proof's going to be in the pudding, whether he's able to do this for an entire season. I hope he does. He's hugely impactful to the Pirates when he's going right, like he was in 2023. I think that makes a huge difference for them. I don't want anybody to live with the back pain that he was having to live with. Obviously, from a contract perspective, that really hurts the Pirates. He's way overpaid if that's the case. But yeah, I mean, I don't pay a lot of attention to how they frame things. Like I know what Bryan has been dealing with. I know the efforts that he's taken to try to fix this. It's been a lot. It's bothered him for years. It has ticked him off. It has hurt him. I don't blame him. And I hope he's through it. I don't think anybody knows, just like any back issues, if he truly is.
Yeah, certainly something to monitor. Jason, anything standing out otherwise down in Bradenton this week?
No, I don't think anything that happens in Bradenton, Adam, is going to change our opinion of the team. I think there's a lot of frustration surrounding these guys right now, and for good reason. And you know what? The only thing that's going to change it, man, is just go out there and win. If they go out there and win and have a good 2 months, people are going to buy in and they're going to go absolutely bonkers for this team, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But if the opposite happens, I think you're probably going to see people lose jobs, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's probably as it should be at this point. If the goal is to win. Jason, thanks for stopping by this week. I think we covered a lot of ground. Thanks to everyone who joined us over here on the Pirates channel. Make sure you subscribe, like the video if you enjoyed it, help us out in the YouTube algorithm. We always appreciate that. Jason, you're going to be back on Saturday this week. Do you want to tease that at all?
Yeah, absolutely. My guest this week is going to be Larry Richert, a voice that you know extremely well. Larry's got a fun career, starting out in TV, doing a morning show on KDKA, transitioning to radio. Obviously, you know him from Steelers games in Acrisure Stadium. He's the voice there. He does stuff on the Pit football radio broadcast, does pregame and sideline reporting. He's also the ambassador to Bradenton, and I believe that's his official title, but works for the Bradenton Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. So we're going to talk about spring training and some places we like down there, as well as just Larry's career and all he's done with Pittsburgh sports. So we're going to talk on Friday. I'm really excited for that. Larry's an awesome guy and an awesome interview.
Looking forward to it, Jason. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.